Hello Wolfpack, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're doing well. In today's video, I'm going to look at an article from a couple of years ago now, and it's on Psychology Today. It's called, Are There Not Enough Men Worth Marrying? New research suggests a mismatch between what men offer and what women want. Marriage rates are on the decline in the United States and have been for the last few decades. Tell us something new. Data offered by the US Census show that nearly 70% of men and women were married in the 1950s compared to about 50% in 2018, with a near 10% increase during the same time frame of men and women who report never being married. Well, we all know why that is, don't we? We know back in the 50s there was actually a reason to get married for men and women, put it that way. The family values, the society was completely different, right? There was really clear traditional gender roles in play. America, back at that time, America was probably, it was at the zenith of its power, right? I think, give or take a decade or two. Post-World War II, America was locked in with the Soviet Union and the Cold War, but no one can dispute the fact that they were the most powerful country on the face of the earth and dominated the rest of the 20th century. But now they're on the decline. And it was built around the family unit, the strong family unit. And it was that was the boomer generation. There are a number of reasons for this demographic shift. For instance, delayed marriage, more long-term non-marital cohabitation, and perhaps less cultural emphasis on marriage. But might there be other reasons? I have a subsection, why aren't women getting married? There isn't a men one. They don't care what men think. New research identifies an interesting quirk in the marriage market that might explain declining rates of marriage. Taking an economic approach, the authors argue that there's a fundamental mismatch between what available men in the United States have to offer and what available women in the United States are willing to accept. Maybe, they propose, women aren't getting married because the highly desirable men are taken. Focusing their analyses on single heterosexual women, the researchers used data from the American Community Survey to predict the likely characteristics of these women's husbands if they had husbands, and then compared those characteristics to what's actually available in the dating pool. More specifically, the researchers generated synthetic spouses for the single women in their sample by first matching them with demographically similar women who happened to be married. The synthetic spouses were designed to reflect the characteristics of the husbands of the similar married women. Thus, assuming women of similar demographics are looking for similar characteristics in their partners, this method offers a starting point for documenting the characteristics single women might be looking for in a partner. They then compared the synthetic spouses with the real and available men in the US, and here's where things get interesting. These available men fall short. Yeah, there's no analysis at all on why aren't men getting married, and they need to just come to this YouTube channel and a million others about why men aren't even bothering to get married. Where are the marriageable men? It's us. It's us. And we're ghosting, we're invisible. We're lone wolves, we're out there in the forest. So how bad is it? According to the study, the kind of men that single women likely would marry if they married, i.e. the synthetic spouses, were not only 26% more likely to hold a job and more highly educated, but they also had nearly a 55% higher income than what the available men in the US actually make. In other words, from an economic standpoint, the dating pool lacks the kind of men that women might be particularly interested in attaching to for the long haul. This is hypergamy in action, right? As women have gained a lot more independence and rights and everything else from the feminism movement, they earn more money, and so they can't, men will get into relationships across and down, if I remember correctly. Women will only go up. It's hypergamous. And now there's just a smaller pool of men that actually out-earn women. More and more men aren't going to college. Women dominate college now. These are things that we talk about all the time. Additional analyses involved a matching process between single women and real available men nationwide, statewide, or within a single woman's PUMA, public use micro-area data, to see if these women could theoretically find someone who matches the kind of men they would marry, someone like their synthetic spouse. In other words, how easy would it be for these single women to find desirable partners? And this exercise extended their findings to include: older women have an even smaller dating pool of economically desirable men than younger women, who would have a slightly easier time finding a suitable partner. Yeah, because you're generally better looking when you're younger, and you have your looks to help you. Whereas older women, they're just aging out in terms of looks. They're going past that wall. Whereas men, the desirable men, have an advantage because they've got more resources, more respect, more confidence. They have more esteem within the community, and that's more attractive to younger women. Well-educated women face more of a shortage of economically desirable men than lesser educated women. Minority women, particularly black women, have a heightened unlikelihood of finding a partner who is economically desirable. They could have just put less likely to find a partner who is desirable. In general, it's harder to find an economically desirable man in one's own close geographic area than in the broader nationwide comparison. Adolescents today still report plans to marry, suggesting the consistent downward trend in marriage rates could reflect undesired singlehood, not necessarily choices to be single in the face of ample desirable options. Lichter and colleagues' research is compelling because it identifies a potential economic issue tied to socio-demographics that may be responsible for changes in marital rates. If the pool of marriageable men falls short of what women want, women might rather be single than settle. That could well be accurate. Personally, I think a lot of desirable men like us are going under the radar and they're disappearing from society, and they're not detected by this type of research. Of note, the study offers a pattern and a potential explanation, but does not show a clear cause and effect relationship in their modelling. Also, as much as we know that people tend to partner with similar others, we do not know the full extent to which the economic potential of men contributes to real-life dating decisions relative to other important factors, e.g. likability, kindness, and good humour. In a changing landscape wherein women are accessing education and delaying marriage more than ever, these findings become particularly intriguing. Will mismatches between the preferences of unmarried women and what unmarried men have to offer persist? Will the gap widen, or are there cultural changes that would create a more balanced marriage market? Or at the bigger level, maybe marriage isn't as culturally important as it once was. I think it's still culturally important, certainly for the benefit of the species and for child raising, massively important. But as I've said before on this channel, there's no reason in 2021 to get married for a man in the West. It's pointless. There's no advantages at all, only inherent risks, and you should avoid it at all costs. But disappointing to see that the article didn't address any of the concerns of men in this side of the equation. It's just, why can't women find marriageable men? And what do women want and all this? So they completely ignored the attitudes and wants and needs of men. So unfortunately, there's no comments. It would have been nice to see the opinions of certainly men on this piece, but never mind. That's about all. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.